All right, before we get into it, got a bit of history today. Two things. One, on this day 15 years ago, Baron Davis dunked on Andre Karolinko in the second round.
That was today? 10 years ago?
15.
15 years ago?
Yeah.
Watch that game live.
Yeah, 2006.
Watch that game live. 15 years ago, then that would have been 17?
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Just a little bit of senior in high school myself. And the other one is the Dr. J reverse layup under and around the basket against the Lakers.
Was that in the finals?
Mm-hmm.
What we just watched on Winning Time?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, you know, they just went through it real quick. Yeah, right. For sure. That
42 years ago, 1980.
Dang, a lot of great plays we made today.
Right. Two monumental plays that I feel like
playoff plays
that for both of their eras of generations of fans and players are defining moments in those to their respective eras and whatnot, to their peers and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. Those are things when you bring up those two players and the greatness of them in both different ways. Baron Davis, he's just great in a lot of different ways. Explosive point guard, but a true point guard could pass the ball, had a little jump shot, quickness, and then Dr. J, the best of his era. Some say he was Jordan before Jordan. The guy after Elgin Baylor, Dr. J was Dr. J. That's a play you know him by, and that's a play you always know Baron by.
For sure. And with that being said, I'm John W.
Trying to see the play tonight. Appreciate it.
And this is the Hoopers Afternoon.
What time of the game?
So, second round, I think, is going about as many people could predict. Miami took a commanding lead last night with a 120-85 victory. Well, 3-2. Phoenix also took a blowout victory. Also took a big victory last night with 110-80. Yeah. Golden State goes up 3-1 with Ja missing the game and possibly missing the rest of the playoffs. Boston and Milwaukee still throwing haymakers at each other. About the two games last night, like I say, Phoenix took a command, goes up 3-2 with a commanding victory, and so does Miami. Were you surprised those games were blowouts? Because you expect those teams to win at home and take care of business at home. Maybe you the visiting team is lucky, but you expect the home team to kind of come in and protect the house.
Yeah, because it's always interesting how the role players they play well at home, so it's always a question of where role players travel. So commanding victories aren't surprising really in series like this. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see either team win at home, even though they both just got blown out on the road.
Sure.
Because once you get home, now it's your role player's chance to step up. But I think they work good statement games. That is what you want to see, especially from Miami. They shot the ball well. Bam played a little tougher on defense. Bam has been really weak to me in this series. I'm really disappointed in Bam because I think Bam could be much better than he is. And I mean, he was solid yesterday. He was good. He was really great. He's always going to be great defensively. Right. But definitely a good win for Miami. And, they kind of got away from what they were doing in Philly. Like, it's nice to see Jimmy Butler give 40s, but that's not really how they play. You know what I mean? That was the bubble Jimmy.
Right.
But when they went home, they got their role players to chip in more so like that. And of course, we knew Chris Paul in the Phoenix game. He had more fouls and points in the previous game, so you knew he was going to bounce back with a good game at home. Got to chill at home. He had a little incident in Dallas, so you kind of want to send that back to him as well. So not surprised either team won. Not even necessarily surprised that they were blowouts either. But I think both teams, that's what you want to see them do.
No, facts are free. And I feel like that Phoenix-Dallas game, I think that's the perfect game. Just watching Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges and how they play past the lanes with their length and they're just great defensive instincts. I think that throws Dallas offense off because I know a lot of people say, they need somebody else they need somebody else so they can get the ball out Luka handle so Luka doesn't have to do such heavy lifting. I just think that's how the team runs. Like, even look at Jalen Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie. They're not out there to find teammates. They're out there to see what they can do, pick and roll, welcome quarter up with 4 shooters out there or 3 shooters at the white pile. And you go from there. Or you playing a team like Phoenix who has such long defenders. Like, at any given time they have, in my opinion, 2 top-tier 3 and D players with Mikal Bridges and Jay Crowder, or Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder, or Jack Cam and Mikael Bridges. So I think they're getting in the passing lanes and they're just disrupting what Dallas wants because Dallas like throwing cross-court passes to the corner for threes because it's open in that offense, honestly.
Right. And, I mean, like you said, with them being at home, they felt more comfortable. That was a good way for them to step up. You want to have a kind of a bounce-back game because Luka, I mean, he is going to dominate the ball. They do play that type of style where they're playing through him and he's making decisions for everybody else. But you wouldn't be correct to say that other people don't touch the ball because Jalen Brunson, he gets his up. He had 21 points this game. Obviously, they wanted a better game out of Spencer Dinwiddie. They didn't get much from Dwight Powell. Like I said, I mean, it's really the same thing. It's not. It's kind of that simple. I know it's not just that simple, but it's really as simple as the role players play better at home, and some don't play as well on the road when you need that extra boost from the crowd, the extra energy, and that's when you need your best players. That's usually when they pick you up a little more. I think when those players are also rolling, that also helps make it eat. Like you're okay with Dinwiddie having the ball a little more when he's going, but when he's not going, you gonna play to your strength more in that player having the ball. And like you said, for Phoenix, they wanted to bounce back and just have a game and just make the game tougher for Luka overall because Bridges, obviously Luka goes off and then he still finishes with 28, but he makes it tougher for him. You don't want him shooting 60% on him and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? I think that was the main thing is you get to go home, so that's a good chance for now your role players to step up because that's what it come down to because you know what they're going to do. You know what Luka's going to do. You know he's going to give you, 30. That's what he I think I saw through his first 20 games. It's him, Jordan, and Wilt.
Yeah, he has the highest playoff average.
You know he's going to give you 30, but it's a matter of, you can't have Dwight Powell give you no points. You can't have Reggie Bullock, he played 35 minutes. He didn't score a point. And it's not always, it's not, they're not just out there to fill it up. I don't expect them to have 15, but 0, you
don't. Reggie Bullock knocked down shots for Dallas all year, and that's what if you're Phoenix, you don't want Reggie Bullock knocking down those threes.
Yeah, being a liability offensively is just as bad as being a liability defensively. I don't want you on the court for 35 minutes and you don't have a shot. You don't make a shot. From a position that you expect 2 to 3 threes from. 6 points is a solid game. We're not expecting you to have 15, but you gotta at least get 6. So.
No, sure. And just real quick, speaking of Phoenix, Monty Williams also. Did you see Devin Booker announce him as winning coach of the year before it came out officially?
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really saw it on Twitter or something. He said on Twitter.
Devin Booker.
I saw they did at the practice facility. I think when they gave it to him.
That's what it does. Everybody, they give it to everybody at the practice facility.
Yeah. What's up with why are they giving them everybody the crystal ball?
I don't know.
Is that just one of the awards?
No, that's one of the awards because remember, Ja got the crystal ball, but then he got the one, the joint sent to him, the big one.
Okay, so maybe you are still getting because if they're just getting the ball, that's weak.
No, that crystal ball as well. We've already spoken on that, but
okay, all right, I didn't know if we had enough, but But shout out to Monty, he coach of the year, he definitely deserved it.
Right.
Phoenix was the best team in the league pretty much all year.
Right.
I think they started 0-2.
Something like
that. And then since then it was over. They went on the crazy run. I think they went 18 straight, 64 wins, franchise record. And it's cool to see him get in position. I don't mind if I sound like a hater if I say this. I want Monty to win a championship, but I don't want Chris Paul to win one. So, sorry, Monty, you got to wait until Chris Paul retires to win this championship. Which means
campaign got to be yourself.
Jason Tatum or Giannis is about to go back to back with Tatum finna get his first one. You can't win to Chris Paul retire.
No, for sure. And the other game last night,
I don't mind if I sound like a hater when it comes to Chris Paul.
No, all the hate. But no, Philly and Miami last night is what I say. Miami picked up a big victory and a blowout.
Yeah,
and
Duncan Robinson, he's apparently he played last night.
Okay, like I say, Jimmy Butler was knocking down some threes last night, which I think last night Miami did the one thing that people was questioning about: would they be able to score offense? And Philly was kind of timid overall. It was a lot of clear lanes to the basket, but Miami was knocking down shots. Everybody, I think COTY Martin coming back helped with that. I don't think people realize how important COTY Martin was. Yeah. He's shooting and defense, and they were knocking down shots. Do you expect Miami to be able to knock down shots in Philly as well, or because Jimmy Butler isn't a role player? He's a star player. You expect him to keep knocking down shots.
And that's what it is. That's what you need. They're gonna have to hit shots on the road. They're gonna have to take jump shots. They're gonna have to travel with them. They're gonna have to go to Philly and try and end it. But it's always easier at home than it is on the road. It's the same. It's the same thing. They got everybody more so involved. Like I said, in Philly, Jimmy had 35 and 40, I think. But a lot of his shots was mid-range shots, and he holds the ball a lot. So sometimes that happens, though, because people aren't making the shots that you need them to make. Right. So I think they have to make it a purpose. And I like that. Shout out to Eric Spoelstra. Why I personally like Eric Spoelstra, because he does his own thing. He don't think Duncan Robinson should be in the lineup. He's not playing him. And everybody, I listen to a lot of people on Twitter, and even a few podcasts. It's like it's gonna be pressure to play him. Not even just because of the way he get paid. When you're not knocking down shots, he can get hot. Sure. You know what I mean? I think he hit 8 threes the first game of the playoffs, but he ain't made it 3 since then. But he has that in him. But he ain't in his rotation, so he ain't playing. And I respect it. Like, when you get into the playoffs, you get into your rotation. And obviously, I'm saying it because they win, because when it works to your favor. Because if we don't, then it's like, he's stubborn or whatever. But I respect that he's going with this is what his rotation was. He had the mindset for the playoffs. He's a championship coach. He's been to 5 finals as a coach. 5 as a coach. So, I want to see him. It was good to see him continue to push that button and believe in the people that he's played this year. Like I said, Strus, Martin came back. He knocked down 1 3. Vincent, and these are players for their going forward too, their future as they continue to build what they got. So they got to figure out a way in Philly to get some shots for them players early. Because if you knock them down early, it just makes you feel good later in the game. If you hit them early, even if you miss a few in between, you making them cover early just kind of lets you know you got it going. So you got to get Strus involved early, get him some easy threes. And I think they can do that through playing through Jimmy and Bam. If Bam decides that he's going to be aggressive offensively, but I'm a Kentucky center.
But no, just looking at last night game, like Philly only scored 85 points while giving up 120.
Yeah.
Timid on both sides, not necessarily just couldn't find it either way. Tyrese Maxey, who has been a bright spot in certain games, both the games at home in Philly.
He played well at home. He's a role player also.
Inconsistent offensively in this series because I feel like Miami defense is made for smaller, quick guards, especially if they can stay in front of them. They're just gonna bottle you up and send you to Bam, PJ Tucker, and all those defenders, and they're gonna get their arms up here and just defend the shots.
Yeah,
but Philly just couldn't get it rolling anywhere. Not Embiid, not James Harden, and that's a game. If you're Philly, you kind of want to get this game because you feel like you can, I don't think they mind playing Joel Embiid unless they're going back to Philly 3-2 in a game 6.
Well, I think that you want to get this game because, honestly, you just want to feel like, because Philly can very well win game 6, right? But even if they win, like imagine if they win this game and then they lost the next game, you go into game 7 thinking, at least we won in Miami, so we feel like we can win there. So you go home and win game 6, and now you go back to Miami, you still haven't won there. So, it just feel better going back there and getting a win in that series. At least one win already in the playoffs against them. I don't know the record off the top of my head during the regular season, but the playoffs is a different animal anywhere. So, getting that game, I just feel like it was, even if you lost the next game, it would make you feel a little better about the game 7. But, Joel is clearly, you don't want to use that as an excuse, but, he's clearly going through a lot with his injuries and stuff like that. So he does need everybody else offensively to pick him up more. And Maxey is a player that attacks, but he really gets going by if his jump shots falling. And it's not like he's a knockdown 3-point shooter. He's a streaky shooter. He gets hot, and when his shots falling, you can't do nothing with him because now he gonna be running up court, he gonna be pulling up. He gonna now you look at pull up, he driving past you. All that's going when his jump shot is going. So when the jumper's not going, you don't mind him driving into the paint. You got Bam down there. Dedmon played last night. I really like Dwayne Dedmon. He's a solid backup center.
Shout out to Dwayne Dedmon. And he having good, but I feel like people be talking about Dedmon like this is 3rd year in the league sometimes.
No, he that old man center that you can play with and pick up.
I just say
you can't play him every night.
Not last night, but game 4 they was talking about him. And like I said, shout out to him for sticking it because he's never been not had a job in the NBA.
Yeah,
He's
he
always
was
on
with the Hawks
team.
for a couple years down
But
here,
I
and
feel
he
like-
always plays.
And he always plays. I just feel like people talk about Dwayne Devin, especially this
Oh,
year,
yeah, like
talking
he a
about
young
like
player?
he a young, like
No, he a
some
You
undiscovered
see him?
player.
Dwayne
Like,
Devin is an OG. He's a good backup center.
Backup center.
He added the three to his game.
Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that in disrespect to hate on
Yeah,
him because he
but-
looks good in Miami. I was like,
But they talk about like it's more development there. No, he is who he is, and that's why he's great.
no, facts for sure.
But I forgot what I was going with.
Either
way,
that's how they good.
Either way, you got Devin in the paint. That's what I'm saying for Maxey.
Yeah.
When he's going to attack into the paint. Then with
Right.
PJ Tucker, Jimmy's over him and stuff like that. He gets going by his jump shot. So with Joel being, he's hurt at the end of the day. Whether you call it excuse, he needs surgery on his finger, he got a broken face, basically. Like you need more. So